I wanted to record a video sharing why I left the animation industry and what's next to me for an animator who is stepping from a secure job into the world of entrepreneurship. So, to give a little bit of context, I've been an animator for 10 years now in visual effects, gaming, and TV industry. For the past 6, I've been in steamroller animation as a lead animator, and now I'm stepping into a different space. So the way I got into the industry was a bit strange. I wanted first to go into acting. That was kind of my first love. And I wanted to be an actress. However, that didn't pan out. Then I wanted to be as close as possible to the theater, so I was very into drawing. So I tried to go into costumography to do costume design for theaters. That didn't pan out either. I wasn't good enough in drawing, so they would accept me at college for costume design. So I ended up in animation because that was the only department that has a drawing inside of it. So that's how I ended up in it. And on our first year, I was good enough at drawing that the studio noticed me and hired me as a concept artist. I was doing concept design, background art for games. And somewhere around my second or third year of college, I got a job offer to go work for a motion design studio. So I kind of shifted from drawing to cinema 4D, motion graphic, really fast TV ads and commercials, and I really love that fast pace work. However, I started to navigate more and shift more toward animation. I wanted to specialize instead of being a generalist. And that's how I ended up being in a first visual effects film studio here in Serbia. I became an animator and I was doing a lot of creature work, a lot of rigging as well. So I was still somewhat of a generalist. So I was doing still partially rigging and animation, but more animation oriented rather than a full generalist. So after a while I realized I need to actually have more money if I want to ever retire decently, and the salary I was getting here in Serbia wasn't enough for me to see any future for me. So that's when I started learning Hungarian out of nowhere to get a European passport, because in Serbia here you can get that option if you had relatives who were in Austro-Hungary back in the day, and if you can prove that you know the language, you can kind of get the European passport, which is exactly what I needed. And so for 2 years I was learning Hungarian and I got my passport, and that's how I got MPC in London, because prior to that, before COVID, of course, you couldn't work remote, so you actually needed a visa or a passport, and that's how I got my first serious creature job. And I actually did a personal shot, this cat animation, you may be seen it, and together with that animation and with my passport, I packed my bags and I went to London, UK. And after that, of course, the whole COVID episode, and I came back to Serbia and I landed my job at Steamroller, which is probably one of the best studios on the market in terms of studio culture and how much they're devoted to their artists and teams, plus how diverse range of projects they have, so you can kind of sharpen your skills in gaming, visual effects, TV, cinematics. So you can kind of shuffle around from project to projects, which I really liked. But that was kind of the first place where I switcheroo again a little bit to character animation, creature animation, so it was all sorts of things. And for the most of my career, I was always exchanging something in order to get to a better place. So in order to get to MPC, I had to learn a new language and sacrifice my time there. In order to become a lead in steamroller animation, I had to learn a little bit of communication and soft skills to be able to negotiate that. And then once I became a lead, I started thinking what should be my next exchange. And I didn't want to wait for someone to offer me the supervisor's position or the next position. I just wanted to be able to offer something in exchange. So that was kind of my logic, and that was one of the reasons why I started doing my short animated film Leap of Faith. It's about to come out in May, and of course I also really wanted to create something. I wanted to animate something, and I had a strong urge to create and to I don't know, share something I felt, not necessarily tell a story, but just, I don't know, plop something out of me and see how the world reacts. And that was kind of the idea. Let's create something. Let's prove that I can manage a team and produce a really good product. So my studio or some other studio might see me as a good candidate for a supervisor. That was kind of the trajectory I was on 5 years ago. However, 2 years ago, when we were almost done with animation, like we were 90% done with animation, we had some small fixes and tech checks. We were transitioning into lighting and compositing, so I didn't have as much work to deal with my team or animate myself. So I actually had a little bit more free time on my hand, and I thought, well, let's not get this film go to waste. Let's have more people see it. So I started marketing and promoting my film on social media. And that's when everything changed, because I fell in love with content creation and the fast paced nature of it and how creative it was, because it includes both writing and design and editing and storytelling and emotional reaction with the viewer. So how you design the video with music, pacing, your messaging. So it's kind of like an art form in itself, and I really fell in love with it. And my marketing campaign was very successful. I had a lot of viral and broad videos go at a time, and I was attracting a lot of eyes and views on it, and a lot of people reach out to me asking me how I was doing it and am I offering any mentorship and classes. And that's how I started to go deeper and deeper into content creation, writing, and the more I learned about it, the more I kept investing my money in education, mentorship classes, to go even deeper, to learn more about the platform-specific formats and algorithms, to really understand how can someone engineer all of that, something I was doing intuitively, and how can I help others do the same as well. I drifted more and more from animation because my day job was pressing keyframes and I couldn't see the meaning in it anymore. To me, it stopped bringing me joy, and it was just pure mechanical action I was doing, and I didn't felt any connection to it anymore. While my 5 to 9 job was super exciting. So that's where all my joy came from, and I was surrounded also by creators and other people who were starting their online businesses and how they were using content to monetize and build a completely different a bug a completely different life than a traditional career in animation looks like. So something completely different from working 9 to 5, having a schedule, having someone tell you what to do. And I started resonating more and more with this other world of entrepreneurship and kind of building your own little arc and your own little future, because I was also feeling that I couldn't focus anymore for 8 hours straight. I didn't felt that same passion and drive I had just 2 years back. I was so driven to solve any technical problems in Maya, or I don't know, jump anywhere my team might need me. But by the time I was almost done with my last job, I was merely getting by. Um, and I don't think that's a place any artist should be in. I think our best work is done where when we are called to do it and we are driven to do it, instead of when we have to do it, when it becomes such a torture that you become so resentful, not just toward the people who are so kind and loving toward you, but toward yourself as well. So you carry all this load and garbage in your heart that's not getting out in any way. And I was starting to feel that can be good for my long-term health, both mental and physical, and I had to change something. So that's when I hired my business coach, somewhere around this time last year, February-ish, yeah, more than a year. I hired my business coach. At the time, I was just contemplating with idea, oh, I just want to start animation, a general, like traditional animation course, teaching people how to animate and mentor them how to animate. However, that was a group coaching program, and there were a lot of women there who were building their online businesses, but what they were doing had nothing to do with the college they went on or what they worked for the past 5 to 10 years in their career. It was mostly something they had personally struggled with, something a personal a problem they encountered and how they overcame it, and they became more educated in that area, and that's how they launched their first businesses. And to me, when I first saw the community of women who are starting businesses based on, I don't know, how they learn to massage their babies and they make a business out of it, or how they lost 10 pounds and then they make a business out of it. Of course, not just based on their personal experience, but they invest more money in education into general fitness coaching, or I don't know, massaging babies coaching or something. So it's not just their personal experience, it's more like their extra education, but all that combined, it's enough to make a first step to get your first clients. And to me, that was mind blowing, because I used to believe that I can only be an animation teacher because I'm 10 years in animation industry. That's the only thing I know how to do. But I realized that you can actually create a business that encompasses all your traits and everything you experienced in your life. So everything I did so far, learning graphic design, writing, learning how to animate, learning what's a good pacing, what's a good rhythm, what's a good story. So all of these are skills I completely, not to mention networking, talking with people, building a community, naturally selling and learning how to translate that into content. So all of these were skills that I was absolutely neglecting and only focusing on what my actual job was. So that was a huge mind shift for me. And from that day on, I started to contemplate the idea, holy crap, maybe I can do a course about content to share what I learned so far and how I got where I got and what it brought me. And so I started with that. That was my first launch group in October last year, Animation for Social Media. That's how it started. And the first program basically teach people how to optimize for virality, because that's something I was good at. And how could I help them engineer their animated content so it gets more views, so more people see it and more people discover their either portfolios, demo reels, or even had one client who is developing his IP on social media. So it's an actual studio who is doing short episode like a vignettes for Instagram. So they hired me to see how can I help from a content perspective, what could they improve. So that's how it started. However, in that first group, I discovered that virality is just one of the tools you can use for your overall content strategy, and it's not enough just knowing that, but it's also important to know what does it serve for, what can people find on your profile, where, how does your whole funnel looks like. And that's where I expanded basically the course or the program to include more of the general content strategies. So how can everything be designed so it makes sense, so you get a client or you get funding or you build your IP. So that's where the second group program focused more on, like, on the general content strategy, not just the virality. So to come back at a point of this video, that is how my interest and my belief system and my habits and my whole life basically shifted once I started doing content. And I realized that I cannot just let this sit inside me while I hit keyframes every day, and only 1/10 of my personality is actually what's making money, while other 9 parts of my personality are not only being idle, but they're burning inside me and making it worse, not just for me, but for everyone else in my team as well, and in my studio as well. And just to stress that point, that I was in one of the best studios in our industry, and I still found that animation wasn't enough for me. That I had so, not just had, but I wanted to offer so much more. And I felt like if I stay in the comfort zone of people who love me and support me, but if I don't go after what I'm being called for, it's not gonna end well. And luckily, at the same time, my contract was expiring, and it was a good time in my business because the group launches went well. I had some one-on-one clients on the side. Studios were reaching out and asking if I can help them. So things were kind of cooking up pretty well. So it was actually a perfect blend or time for my contract to expire and for me to step away for a minute from animation industry and see what I can do. See, I want to fail at something. I want to take risk at something. I want to try something new. So animation stopped being a challenge for so long for me, and I couldn't see. I saw a limited growth. Again, even though I was in one of the best studios in our industry, it was just the type of uh, niche or industry where it just animation, like our animation clients don't care that I like to, I don't know, do short form content, or that um, I'm good at sales, or I don't know, any number of things, or that I'm good at storytelling. So they don't care about that. They just want their thing delivered, and that's completely fine. And it took me a long time to be calm with that, and to be okay with that, to not be angry and resentful to our animation clients, but to be like, okay, well, they want fruits, but I want vegetables, or I don't know, I want meat. And it's not like one is better than the other or one is wrong. They're different, and they have their different audiences, and they have different people who value what they have to offer. So when I realized that I just need to stop selling vegetables to people who want to buy fruit, and that I have to find people who wanna buy vegetables, that's when I basically started this online business and venture into entrepreneurship. So here I am right now, April 2026. Will I go back to animation? I have no idea. Maybe yes, maybe no. Depending if I feel a calling again to do it. If I do come back, I don't think it's gonna be in a traditional setting, working from 9 to 5. Um, Maybe I'll do some shorts or some personal shots for myself. Maybe I'll do some shorts on TikTok, on Instagram. I don't know. We'll see. Right now, I'm super overburnt with animation, so I'm taking a long break from it, or at least a break until I feel I've had enough rest. But I do feel a strong urge to write and create content and to serve animation community in a different way, a way where I can use all my talents instead of just portion of my talents, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's it for this video. What's next? For me, I'm planning to do at least 2 or 3 cohort launches by the end of the year for animators, of course, looking to attract clients or funding on their social media. Look out for that more on Instagram or on LinkedIn. Next one is going to be in May, that's for sure. And then, of course, if you want one-on-one consulting, if you don't like working in a group setting, you can always book a 20-minute consultation call to see how can I best help you and your project on social media. And we'll see how it goes. But that's it. Hope this was useful for someone who is maybe looking to get out of the industry and see how content creation can help you do that, and how social media is extremely powerful tool, not just to supplement your income on the side, but also create a whole new life for you if you choose to go this way. And yeah, hope this is useful to someone, and that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.